It's going to give us the opening cutscene, which is kind of a shit show of a whole bunch of various images and characters that we don't really know about at this point.
But you can check out the, at the time, cutting-edge lip-syncing technology. There it is. You can practically read those lips.
Accessibility early on in games.
Yeah, but this is actually part of the technology behind the game. Is that they were quite proud of the fact that this engine can actually recognize text, I think phonetically, and try to adjust the lips of the actors in the game to match that.
I really like that lady in the dress running in the background. It's so awkward.
There's a dog there.
I know, that's sad.
Oh, man.
Does the dog die, Deus Ex? I wonder if that's on here.
Yeah.
Lots. Most games, I guess.
There are attacks. There's Dobermans.
Yeah.
And if you go into the engine, you can actually see that player characters drop scent icons that you don't see in the game, but in the background, so they actually have a built-in sense of smell into the game.
Cheap chairs.
That's the entire staff.
Yeah.
And that one woman, her only role is to get upset if you walk into the bathroom, the ladies' room. Yeah.
And then you see these alien things, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah, the greases. Whatever. Yeah, it's
inflexibility has allowed us to make progress in areas they refuse to consider.
Good use of rhetoric there, Bob.
Among other things, but I must admit that I have been somewhat disappointed in the performance.
The Red Room is also very startling.
I love the hand about to grasp the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Just, you know, that's not sinister at all.
It's a great image. And it's like red marble? Looks like red marble.
Yeah.
It's like, where did you get that?
It's future marble.
Yeah.
Crimson marble. Oh yeah, the Aquinas reference. There are so many references in this game to like classic philosophers, Greek myth, and more contemporary philosophers like Bakhtin shows up at one point. Believe it or not, the writing behind this game is pretty informed. It's interesting.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to get into the writing a little bit later too, whether or not it's just name dropping or it actually has a full thread of relevance in this game or not.
So maybe we should just describe what we're seeing right now.
Yep. I'll move a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So this is the starting level. You're on Liberty Island, which is attached to, obviously, the Statue of Liberty. That's the New York skyline there. One thing you might notice is that the Twin Towers are not there. So in this universe, or the Deus Ex world, they describe they forgot to include the Twin Towers. They have the art asset, but they didn't actually put it into the final build of the game. So they explained that away in the literature that it was actually destroyed in a terrorist attack.
Oh God, Paul's running towards us.
He's going full
Wow, what the heck? We don't even get a chance to breathe.
Might as well start using your code name. Think I missed my brother's first
I mean,
day?
I've never stopped at the beginning, so I didn't know that he ran that far.
Yeah, now he goes full tilt. Jacket flying in the wind.
And he's wearing basically the same outfit as you do.
It's the same character model, I think.
Yeah, which is odd because he is actually 11 years older than you. And I guess they added a little bit more gray to the side of his hair, but I don't know. You get the impression that he's basically the same age as you.
Yeah. It's the same voice actor too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Or knock them unconscious. A non-lethal takedown is always the most silent way to eliminate resistance. Just in case the commander may want you to pick an additional weapon. A sniper rifle.
You'll learn if you've played this game before, Paul is a bit of a pacifist, and the lessons in pacifism start right from the outset there with the riot prod, and then he gives us this choice of 2 lethal and 1 non-lethal weapons to start with.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when I pick the rifle.
I'll make a from a distance.
Comment.
I'll take the rifle. This isn't a training exercise, JC. Your targets will be human beings. Keep that in mind. I get the idea. What's the first move? I'm going to give you a map of the island. If you can get to the North Dock, a UNATCO informant will give you a key to the statue doors. He responds to the code phrase, iron and copper. You could avoid a lot of fighting, though, if you found a back way to the statue. I'll see how it looks on shore. Your primary objective is the makeshift command center the terrorists have installed.
So we saw back there how Paul, he kind of wagged his finger at you about taking that sniper rifle and being kind of the John Rambo approach to the situation, and that's something that's going to become recurrent theme throughout the game, and it becomes quite interesting because the people you're encountering here are labeled as terrorists. They've taken over the Statue of Liberty and absconded with a cure for a disease that's plaguing everybody in New York right now. And but you'll soon find out that not all is what it seems with these supposed terrorists.
Get the binoculars.
Nice.
The lockpick.
So if you want to look just up to the left there, you can see the Statue of Liberty looks a little bit different in the Deus Ex universe, and that's because it was blown up by a French terrorist organization called Silhouette, and their whole MO is to fight kind of oppressive forces and oppressive governments, and their idea here was that they could demonstrate against the lack of liberty and freedom in the US by essentially demolishing the very symbol of it, which has French connections, obviously. So.
Yeah, is it kind of the worst case of takes backsies ever?
Yeah. It's a pretty charged symbol to detonate. Yeah. And so to give you a little bit of background too on these terrorists, they're in the game they're called the National Secessionist Force, and the game in the kind of literature around the game describes them as a Second Amendment nationalist organization. So not unlike similar present day kind of militias that hope to secede and resent government control and cling to their firearms. That doesn't really come across in the game too much. You kind of have to suss that out on your own, but that's where they're coming from ostensibly, is that they're this kind of homegrown collection of terrorists.
And if we go up here, we're gonna get shot at.
I love, yeah, the what they yell at you is they call you fascists. It's a nice little burn.
And they'll go all the way.
Get that bot, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the robot will help.
Oh, is he already dead? Oh, I thought he took 2 shots and killed him.
That's it. He's gone.
Yep. Don't mess with the drones.
I didn't kill anybody, right? Wasn't me. And now we can loot his body.
As you do.
As you do.
So in this fiction, the U.S., because of these terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers and on Statue of Liberty, has become a kind of police state. And so we see these drones are quite commonplace. They're meant to police the streets. The local police force is described as being kind of without a conscience and being ready to fire a gun at the drop of a hat. It's a very tense situation. And in the game you work for an organization called UNACO, which is the United Nations Anti-Terrorist Coalition. Essentially they're kind of like an anti-terrorist version of NATO. And your job is to kind of suppress and disarm terrorists, who in this case, again, have taken off with this cure for a disease that's plaguing everybody. There's the UNACO sign.
Oh, here we are, yep.
Yeah.
Those lights are so bright.
Your tax dollars at work, New York.
Crank 'em.
I was at New York with my family last year, and I'm kind of ashamed to admit that I was surprised Liberty Island didn't really look like this.
It didn't?
No, it's not
Wasn't
even
full of
an
terrorists?
island. It's literally just the tower. I don't know.
Right.
Need to watch more movies.
UNATCO command made us
Ghostbusters
fall back.
2, I guess.
For Gunther's sake.
Oh, God.
What's the deal? We're ready to go in.
And as you talk to people that work here, UNACO employees, cops, they're all a lot of them are very aggressive, and they don't understand why they can't just go in and blow the doors open and shoot all the terrorists and et cetera, et cetera. And this is, again, a kind of running theme in the game, is to juxtapose these policies of the more military type players against your own as a kind of more of a free agent.
Except when we pick, say, this option.
Yes, and then we're clearly on their side. Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, you don't have to... That's the other nice thing is, like, you don't have to pander to these guys. Like, I find with a lot of dialogue in games, you're pandering. Like, I'm playing Fallout 4 right now, and I just feel like just say whatever they want to hear you say.
There's no consequences.
There's no role-playing. There's no accommodation for role-playing when you just got to get the job done. So are we going to lie or are we going to tell the truth?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to tell him the opposite of what we're doing and then see what...
We're taking a minimum
Yeah.
force approach.
If he
We'll
picks
see.
up on that later on, yeah.
I mean, we haven't killed anybody
Drag
yet.
them all. You trespass on units.
Just letting the drones do
Get pumped full of
our work for us. We're using the U.S. foreign policy.
Thought you nanowogs were supposed to be badass killing machines. Guess I was wrong.
Yeah, see, you're seeing that they're really excited about the killing potential you have.
Best thing is to pick them off from 50 or 100 paces with a scope.
And is nano-ogs a slur?
No, that's a good question. It's so in this universe, this is a really interesting thing about Deus Ex is that they not only did they didn't set it as like the next generation of super soldiers. This is actually the second generation. You're coming after the mechanical augmented people. So you're version
Yes.
2.0, and you're the nano version, and so you don't look visually as augmented as a lot of the other characters do. So we saw at the beginning Walton Simmons had all those blue lines and stuff like that, and he looked pretty he looked augmented, and that's in the Deus Ex universe. He's the older generation where you can see like the metallic arms and their eyes are all kind of covered in wiring and that sort of thing. But the nano versions, it's all within your body. It's all subdermal, so you can't see it, and that allows them to blend in, but it also makes them they're the next gen.
Right. See Human Revolution about what that was all about.
Yeah,
basically.
and so Human Revolution tries to explore the precursor to that, the initial introduction of mechanical augmentations.
So I've always found that I don't have enough money for any of this, and you find so much ammo on the ground.
Yeah.
So I don't ever buy anything. from
Yeah,
it.
no.
You just find it on the ground.
I like how he's just selling things from his employer on the side to somebody who works for them.
Right, and right in front.
Yeah, he's
too.
not being discreet.
So yeah, we will be killing people for the purposes of speed.
We should try out the riot prod at some point, though.
The charger prod.
Yeah.
It's hard to use, I find.
If you get them in the back, it's one hit,
Who
though.
was that? That's him. He's a
He hit us with a tranq dart.
How do you feel about that death sound? Is it the most ridiculous death sound ever?
I've heard it so many times. Look out! That thing is dangerous.
God damn.
God.
God damn.
Either avoid its patrol route or, if you've been lucky, try and take it out with the EMP grenades or explosives. I wouldn't recommend
Data
taking
cube.
it on with small arms.
Oh, I get a little login. And I'm pretty sure, unlike most contemporary games, does that get recorded in your... if you press F1, does it show up in your notes? Or do you have to memorize everything?
I believe you get...
Oh no, I saved it.
Yeah, I think it would just be insane to try and memorize all that. I mean, you'd write it down.
I like that
what
their
you'd have to
password
do.
is smash the state, though. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Robots.
If you make a break for it, you might get across there. I think we want to go that way. We should go see our contact out on the dock.
I think we got an intruder.
Not that guy.
That's him. He's a cop.
It's so dramatic.
And then they fall in such a way that they just... I don't know, they almost crumple over.
Uh-oh.
We should show off that aiming thing. So next time you see someone at a distance, just pause and hover over them. So that's the way that the game works in the stats based on your shooting. So it'll take longer for the aiming to focus in on somebody to actually make an accurate shot. But if you increase your skill, it'll work a lot faster, essentially allowing it to play like every other FPS. But from the outside, that's not this type of game. Your shooting is matched up with your stats. And you should bust out that sniper rifle.
Oh, yeah.
Although I don't remember what the zoom key is like, square bracket or something crazy.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hold on. Yeah, you're right.
And look at that.
Left square bracket.
Like, it just
It's moving all over the place.
It's-
Like, I'm letting... Well, it's not moving anymore, but...
Just the time to focus on something is just extensive. Yeah, it's...
Ugh. It's not intuitive.
So it's really strange. Like, so the idea behind the NSF is that they're just all these different homegrown terrorist organizations that are gun nuts essentially, but also ultra nationalists. And so you get, I think there's people from all over the states that are part of this organization that is just they've just been mobilized to. They think they're helping out, but they're also obviously quite aggressive. And there's strange parallels with present day militia groups and yeah, another eerily prescient aspect of Deus Ex.
About time you showed up.
Bum.
Iron and copper. The statue is copper on an iron frame, right? Password's enough, pal. Don't think you know something about the Lady Ida.
I love how he just gets pissed
out
off.
here. I heard that you can get me inside.
That idea that, like, this guy knows the city, he's like the expert, can't show him up.
Yeah, he's one of the many sort of like person of the street characters worked into Deus Ex that in a lot of cases it's kind of a stereotype, but and I find in this game it's a nice they worked it in well, and the fact that, you know, so in the world there's this plague this it seems to be disproportionately affecting lower class people, and all the cures keep going to the upper classes, and that's why the NSF has taken off with this batch of the cure, is because they want to redistribute it to the people. And throughout a lot of the gameplay in New York, you're interacting with homeless people who are a lot of them have just intentionally decided to live out on their own on the streets rather than be part of this system that kind of oppresses them, and they feel that they're actually safer living kind of underground.
Well, and it's one of the few games I think that actually has homeless people as characters and not just background decoration for whatever city you may be in. But it's kind of true that, like, the homeless, in a sense, are, like, off the grid, right? And in this kind of, you know, sci-fi, cyberpunk world, that's actually a huge advantage and a huge benefit. Yeah,
so part of the philosophy behind the game is this came out in 2000, so they were ramping up to this, you think, you know, 4 or 5 years before 2000. Y2K and a lot of the conspiracy theories that followed the millennium were just running rampant, and so the developers were like, okay, what if we created this world where all of these conspiracies actually were rooted in fact? And so this idea of governments controlling vaccines that relate to plagues that are oppressing different classes disproportionately, and the Illuminati and the Knights Templar and all of these different things just kind of coalesce into this ridiculous amount of conspiracies stacked one on top of the other. And it's, in this case, actually, the people that are typically written off as conspiracy theorists are actually in the right.